Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Strope. I'm the Assistant Dean of Students and Director of Residence Life on campus here at Cornell. I want to welcome you today. We haven't had a chance to meet many of you in person yet, but we already miss seeing your faces around campus and can't wait to have you come and visit again. We'd love to share a little bit about our residential life and our dining programs here on campus. And so I'll go ahead and jump into that. At the end of the presentation, I'll be sure to share some contact information, and how you can reach out to us. And then I think that there might be some questions the admission staff has before we wrap up. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first thing we'd like to share about is our dining service program here on campus. So we partner with Appétit. They are a nationally recognized company who provides dining service programs all over the world. They are an amazing partner here for us. The staffing and just the overall quality of food and things that they provide. So some of the reasons that I think they're so amazing to partner with is that they have this connection or this commitment to being farm to fork. They are one of the first companies in the kind of the dining world that made this commitment. And so what does that mean for us? It means that on any given day, up to 40% of the items that are served in our dining hall come from within 150 miles or less of our campus. And so that's great because it means you're always getting fresh products, fresh produce. Obviously we can't get fresh pineapple in Iowa in the middle of the winter, but we're always trying to find the freshest things that we can. And that also allows us then, because we're getting so many local things, to be able to do more homemade options. You're not just getting something that's been sitting in a freezer for a while that they're thawing out and frying up. You're getting things that are made with a lot of care, and with a lot of love. Obviously, there are certain things like, cereals, we can't replicate those, but being here close to Cedar Rapids, we have multiple companies in Cedar Rapids that make cereal, so we're even getting you the freshest cereal we possibly can. That's how committed the dining program is to that. Because we can also do so many things homemade, that really helps us to be able to accommodate students too. And so there are always, in addition to things that you would generally find in any dining facility, we also have a selection every day at most stations of vegan and vegetarian options. We're able to accommodate any sort of health or dietary needs or concerns. And so, for the most part in my time on campus, there's been very few things that we've been able to find that we're not able to accommodate. The staff will bend over backwards and have even gone as far as doing one-off meal services to make sure that our students can eat on campus and get the nutrition and things that they need from their dining experience. The last thing I'll say about our dining program, our partnership with Bon Appetit at least, is that they are our largest student employer on campus. And so if you have work-study opportunities, you'll always be able to find a position with Bon Appetit. And they, being an outside company, you're going to find at any office on campus that you're getting some leadership training, that you're getting some valuable skills and things that you can apply down the road. Bon Appetit's hoping that you'll come work for them. And so whether it's, yes, they're doing things here, students are doing things in our dining hall, but they're also looking for people to do marketing and communications and business analysts and different things like that. And so there's great opportunities with them after you graduate as well. In terms of our dining options on campus, we have two main options. We have our Hilltop Cafe, which is our large dining hall. It is a buffet style, all you can eat options. There are multiple stations. We have a pizza station, a salad bar, we have a global station, we have a pasta station, we have kind of our classics, comfort food menu items, and then there's always a grill, with grilled options as well. So, and then my favorite favorite, the dessert bar. So you'll always be able to find a wide variety. It is all you can eat. So please go back and get as much as you want at any time, and enjoy that experience. So the other option on campus then is our Zamora's Market. This is more of our coffee shop, a la carte. I just really, at 11 o'clock at night, I want to get some, chicken fingers and French fries, or I want, some jalapeno poppers to help me get through my studying or something like that. I go down there to get my Diet Coke fix, and so there's all kinds of options that you can kind of, purchase, on an individual basis down there. The other nice thing about Zamora's Market is it allows us to do meal exchanges. So we have these large 2.5 hour chunk meal times every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner up in the Hilltop Cafe. But we know that occasionally, a student might, have a test that goes a little bit long, and they might have some student organization meetings, or, a practice that runs a little over, or something like that, and they're not able to attend a meal service. They can still go down to Zamora's Market, swipe their card, and use their meal swipes to be able to get a meal down there without having to pay out of pocket or flex cash, which is a nice option to have. Speaking of our meal plans and things, we have two meal plans that we use on what we call our full meal plan. One is our 20 meals per week, which is we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day except for Sundays. We serve brunch and dinner on Sundays. And then we have, so those meals would cover all of those, or those meal swipes would cover all of those. And then we have a 14 meal swipe plan. And so you can attend any 14 meals that you'd like during the week. These meal swipes are not, you have a swipe for Monday breakfast or Tuesday dinner. If you want to go through and your family's in town and you want to swipe, your parents in for a meal and use 3 of your swipes at one time, that's okay. You just have to kind of be mindful and watch how you play things out throughout the week. We intentionally reset meal plans on Fridays because we never want a student to accidentally run out of a meal plan during the weekend. And so we reset those on Friday mornings for the students, and then that makes sure that during the week, if something were to happen, we have staff more readily available to help out. The other nice thing that comes with the 14 meal swipes per week is we have a flex cash option, and so that's about $200 a semester that's included with that. And so it works on a declining balance, and so you can just go down, and if you want to buy a coffee at Zamora's Market, you just swipe your card, and it'll take away until that account reaches zero. The nice thing about the flex cash option is that it rolls over from the fall to the spring semester, but that money that flex cash does then go away at the end of each year. So if you have money from the 14 plan, it is a use it or lose it kind of by the end of the year. But most of our students never have trouble finding ways to spend that. The other nice thing is that the flex cash option, say you have the 20 meal plan, and while it doesn't come with flex cash included, you can register your card to be able to add flex cash. And so it's an easy link that can be sent out for you to add it, or you can even ask somebody to donate. The first time we offered this, I jokingly sent it to my mother, and she put $20 on my card. And so students definitely take and see if your parents will help you out with that one. But yeah, so that's kind of all of our dining. Let's transition a little bit into what is our residential life program looking like here on campus. So we are a residential institution, and so we do have a 4-year live-on requirement for our students. Now, there are some exemptions to that. So say you're a local student who's going to live at home within 30 miles of campus with your parents. You're a non-traditional student who may be married, or you have prior military service, or different things like that. There's a number of exemptions that students can qualify for. So roughly this year, about 93% of our students overall lived on campus this year. And so I think that's, there's a lot to show studies and research out there on why the residential experience is really important, and especially on a liberal arts campus like ours, the residential experience is really an extension of your classroom learning. So in terms of housing options, we kind of have a whole gamut here on campus. We have some traditional residence halls. Most of our housing is in traditional style halls. We have so a couple of buildings that are what we consider to be suite styles. So they're like apartments. They just don't have a private kitchen within their living unit. We do have an apartment building on campus, a couple of apartment buildings on campus that can be used that do have private kitchens within their living unit. And then there are a couple of themed houses that some of our student organizations live in and get to use as programmatic space for their groups. And we do have, most of our rooms are double occupancy. So it is very likely in your time at Cornell that you will have a roommate every year, or maybe some roommates if you're in the triples or the quads or in some of the suites or apartments. So we do have some singles on campus that students get to live in, although most of our singles do, about half of our singles ultimately go toward students who have specific housing accommodations that are necessary. And so if you think that you would fall into that category, please let me know, or Brooke Paulson, who is our academic support and advising coordinator, and we can help you navigate what that process looks like. So we also are really excited that we're able to offer different gendered floors. And so we know that for some students, you want a single gender environment. And so we have some floors that are designated as all male or all female. We know that some students want a variety of students to be able to live with. And so for first year students, we have an option called a mixed gender floor. So for example, you and your roommate who identify as one gender could be in this room. There could be two students who identify as a different gender in this room, different students who identify as a different gender in the room down the hall, and kind of intermixed on the floor. And then as you get to be upper class students, we transition that to either having single gender floors or what we call all gender floors, where anybody can live with anybody regardless of their gender identity. And we do base this on the gender identity that you share with us when you apply. And so, if you have questions about that, we'd be sure happy to help you with, figure that out and navigate that as well. On the screen, you can see some photos of some of our residence halls. The top left corner is Bowman Carter. That is an all-female hall on campus. We do reserve a few spaces in that room, or in that building, about a dozen rooms for first-year students. To the right of that is Polly Roram Hall. That is our largest first-year building. There's about 144 beds in that building for first-year students. And then the photo that takes up the bottom of the screen is what we affectionately call our tri-hall area on campus. The larger building in the middle is Pfeiffer Hall. That is a mixed use of first-year and upper-class students. And so there's a couple floors of first-year students, a couple floors of upper-class students. And then the building to its right, kind of tucked into the trees, is Tar Hall, and the building to the left that is a little bit more easy to see is Dow's Hall. Those are both buildings of about 72 to 75 first-year students. Pfeiffer houses about 156 students. And so these are the primary areas that you would live in as first-year students. All of them have very similar amenities. And so you're going to find that there's community space in each building. You're going to find that each of them has some sort of study area available, whether it's group study or individual study. There are kitchens in every building. For example, in Dow's, we went with more of a design of a big demonstration style kitchen. And so we actually have our dining staff come in on a regular basis and open to all students, and they teach students how can you make meals here on campus in the residence hall. So, how can you take that packet of ramen and kind of, jazz it up a little bit so that it's not just a packet of ramen or something like that. And they've done everything on up to, shrimp shrimp rolls and a whole wide variety. So if you have ideas and you'd like to attend one of those, let us know, and we can get in touch with the dining staff. So in addition, there are laundry rooms in every building. Some of the buildings might have multiple laundry rooms, depending on how they're set up. These are, the cost of laundry are built into your housing fees. And so you do not have to pay. They're not coin operated. You don't have to swipe anything. It's just go and use them. And so because of that, I strongly encourage everyone to take advantage and do as much laundry as you possibly can, as often as you possibly can. Unfortunately, waiting around until the end of the block to do your laundry might overload machines, which could cause some damage to those, or it could also cause you to pack too many things in and your clothes not actually be as clean as you'd like them to be. So definitely take advantage and do as much laundry as you'd like. It's available to you at all times. So. Those buildings also have communal bathrooms in the buildings. Some of these are private bathrooms for individual use kind of on the main levels. Some of them are more communal bathrooms for the individual floors. Some buildings also have multiple bathrooms on the floors, which is a really nice accommodation to have. Excuse me, most of our buildings, right now are air conditioned. There are still a few that have not received air conditioning yet through the renovation process. It is something that we continue to work on, but it's something that if you find that there's a need for air conditioning or that's something that you prefer, make sure that you're paying attention to that. On our website, there is a page that lists all of the building options and talks about the different amenities and things available. So. When you get into the student rooms, the pictures that you're going to see on the screen are very much what polyrorum, dowels, and tar look like. They are almost identical to each other in terms of how they're set up. The Pfeiffer and Bowman Carter rooms are slightly different because those rooms actually have built-in closets as opposed to the dresser wardrobe combo you see in the bottom picture. But every student room on campus comes with a bed frame. You will have a twin XL mattress. Make sure you note that as you purchase your linens. If you do end up coming to Cornell, we do have a linens program that we work with that you can purchase things and have those shipped directly to the college for you. Every student gets a desk and a chair, and then some sort of either a organizer, as you can kind of see on top of the desks in the top photo, or a bookshelf. It just depends on if you're in kind of a single room or not, whether you get the bookshelf or the organizer. And then again, you'll either have a dresser wardrobe combo unit as shown, or there will be a built-in closet and then a standalone dresser for you to use. How do you end up getting placed in your housing is a question we get a lot. And so we do this through a housing preference form. So when you make your deposit, then shortly after that's confirmed, you will get access to your student portal of things that you will need to complete before you enroll at Cornell in the fall. One of those is a housing preference form. It's about 20-ish questions, and you can go back and resubmit that as many times as you'd like up until I believe it's the last Monday in June is when we close that form. So we do all of the placements in order of the original submission date. So if you deposit now, you're likely to be earlier on that list than if you were to wait and deposit at the end of June. But if you deposit now and you go in and you resubmit the form to update something, it will not impact your original submission date. That is locked in place. So the other really important thing that I always encourage is parents, please let your students complete their housing preference form. Otherwise, what ends up happening is they end up with your ideal roommate or who you think their ideal roommate will be. And we know that sometimes that doesn't always match up. And so for students, it's also really important to be as open and honest as possible when you do fill out these forms, because we do look at that and use all of that information to match you up. Things like, you know, when do you go to bed, and kind of a time frame. What do you want, a roommate that is the same or goes to bed a different time? Are you a student athlete and want to live with someone from the same sport or different sport? Do you want your room to be a place for quiet study or more of a social gathering spot on your floor? The more open you are on that, the more likely we are going to be able to place you with someone else that is going to be an ideal roommate for you. So I think it's really important to note that, again, we are looking for an ideal roommate, someone who's going to be a good match for you, and not necessarily looking for trying to find your best friend. We trust that students on our campus get involved, and we know they get involved, and they get involved in a lot of things usually. And so we trust that students are finding their friendships and their relationships and connections through that. We're still going to do things we can to help. And a lot of times students do become friends with their roommate. But you know, I know from my personal experience, my best friend and I were not great roommates. We tried it, it didn't work out. And so we like to put that information out there, that we're trying to find you someone that you can live with and share a room with comfortably, above anything else. You are able, though, to request a roommate. If you meet someone, you know someone from your hometown or around you that is coming to Cornell, you've met someone through the admissions process, or you connect to somebody virtually, you are able to note that person's name on your housing preference form. The important thing to note is that it does have to be mutually listed between both folks. So for example, if myself and I wanted to live with somebody and they didn't put me down on their form, we would assume there's a reason that they didn't put me down on their form, and so we will not honor that request. This is especially important for student athletes, because a lot of times your coaches are giving you some advice based on who else on the team you might be a good roommate with. And so if your coach has shared the name of someone that they think you should live with and you want to live with that person, you need to make sure to list them. Otherwise, we might not be able to honor that request from the coach. So a couple of things, again, depending on the order in which you deposit and get kind of in our queue for housing placements, we're not able to guarantee that you'll get your top placement. Most of our students do get their top placements because people have different interests and want to spread around. Usually folks are in their, you know, if they don't get their top, they're getting their second placement. Very few times do we have folks who go down that list. It's also really important to note that some of your choices on the preference form may impact that. So for example, if you want to live on a specific themed floor, we have a STEM related themed floor, a community connections themed floor, and a fit and active themed floor. If you want to live on one of those floors, or the transfer floor is our other theme floor, I apologize for that. If you want to live on one of those floors, those are in specific buildings. And so if you preference a different building, but say you want to live on a theme floor, we're going to house you on the theme floor first, before your building preference. So just some things to keep in mind as you go through that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we plan to start at the end of June going through all of those forms. We hand match every student. We look at every form. It takes us a few weeks to do that and to double check things. So our goal is by the middle of July that we will be sending you an email with information about who your roommate will be, which building and room you've been assigned to, and just some other things to help you get connected now to who your RA is going to be, and help you as you plan to move in. So talking about some of our staffing on campus, so we do have staff available at all times that are here to make sure you have a great experience. And so there are 4 professional staff that work in the residence life office, myself and our housing facilities coordinator that staff our main office, and then we have 2 assistant directors who oversee the different residence halls. They kind of split campus in an east side of campus, west side of campus. So you always have a professional staff member you can reach out to. there is a resident assistant on every single floor. And so that's a person that, and one of your peers who you can connect to. They'll be planning fun events for you to do, in addition to helping you try to get connected, in addition to just being a resource for you. There's some additional student affairs staff who live on campus in some of the residence halls, so you may see them around. We do have a 24/7 campus safety team, so during the school year, there's always at least 2 people from campus safety on campus at all times. They do everything from lockouts to trips across campus if you need an escort, and for any reason. They can jump your car, and in addition to all the things that they do to keep us safe on a daily basis. So, and then we have an early response team too. So we have an emergency on call rotation. So there's a 24/7, there's a staff member on call. So sometimes that might be, an emergency for some students is the roommate ate the last piece of pizza, and that's created, some strife amongst them, and they need someone to talk to. It's also been, they've gotten some bad news from home, or maybe they have an injury and need to go see a doctor, or go to the hospital for something. We always have someone available that can help students navigate that and be there to be a support person for the students. And then, as I mentioned a second ago, we do have an early response team. So we have a group that meets weekly to kind of talk through student concerns that are popping up. So students aren't going to class and the professor's reporting that to us. Students who maybe aren't performing well academically, students that we've seen that were really connected that now are suddenly being less connected. We're going to try to figure out who the best person on campus is to connect with that student and reach out in a way that we can be proactive and try to help them through whatever's going on before things get to a point where the student isn't able to be as successful as they want to be. So in addition to some of the staffing things that go on, we have a ton of engagement opportunities within the residence halls and on campus. So we're going to do everything we can to plan social events so that you can meet others. We're going to do a lot of educational programming based around your interests and also some of the priorities and outcomes the college has developed. We have a Now series. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the dining staff coming in and cooking. We've done Frisbee golf tournaments. We've done documentary series with the library. So just things to kind of get students here in the now and enjoy time with each other. And then we do a lot of personal development opportunities throughout, and then connections to just taking students to things on campus. We want you to go to the speakers. We want you to go to the basketball games and the theater performances and the musicals and to get involved that way. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. On the screen should be our contact information, so you can call the office at any time. Our number is 319-895-4113. And that'll come to our main office, and we can get you connected with anyone else on campus if questions kind of go outside of residence life. Also, you can email us at the res_life@cornellcollege.edu. That may be the easiest way to connect with us, just because sometimes the office does, get closed down for meetings or different things on campus. So, and then we do have some social media presence, and then please visit the website. We have tons of information out there and are happy to answer any questions at any time that anyone has. So with that, I think I'm going to turn it back over to our admissions staff who are waiting by and see if they have any further questions.
Yeah, thanks so much, Stephen. This is Drew Suriel, Director of Admission here at Cornell, and just a few questions that we usually get from parents that I thought I'd send your way just to get an answer on. One that we always get, a very popular question, is singles. If a first-year student really wanted a single, is that possible for everybody, or is it only possible for a few? What would be the process if that was possible?
Yeah, so for as I alluded to a little bit earlier, all of our first year students should plan that they're coming in and that they will have a roommate, and that either of their choice or that they have been paired with through the housing preference form process. There are some singles available to first-year students on a accommodation needs basis, and so those are usually for disability-related accommodations. There is a process on our website that you can go to that's under our housing options link, and then it talks about special considerations and accommodations. And so you would work with your provider or appropriate provider on filling out a form that will be sent back into Brooke Paulson, and she will convene our any appropriate members of our housing accommodations committee. So we want to be respectful of your information and your privacy of that information, so we don't have everyone look at it, just the folks who need to weigh in on it. And then as long as it looks like it's a reasonable accommodation, then Brooke will email you letting you know that it's been approved, or if it's not able to be approved, why, and some guidance there. And then if it is approved, then she will contact me and I will work with you on placing you in a specific assignment.
Great. So kind of on the same level there, pet therapy or anxiety, animals that people want to bring in if they need those, how do they go about applying for those?
Yeah, so we do have service and support animals on campus. That is that process for applying for approval for a support or a service animal is done similarly through as the special consideration and accommodation process. It's just a slightly different form specific to requesting a service or support animal. Outside of that, we do allow fish on campus in small aquariums. Encourage students not to bring giant tanks just because of your shared living space and things like that, but you can have fish. Outside of that, though, we do not allow other pets on campus. And I know that there's always some questions about, well, what if it's an animal that can live underwater most of the time? Unfortunately, those don't count. It is just purely fish as pets, unless you do have approval for a service or support animal.
And if a student were to go off campus for, say, a block or a semester abroad, what is the process in making sure that they let you know, and then they're not going to be using their dining service, they're not going to be living on campus. Is there any accommodation to that where a student would be off campus for that time?
Yeah, we strongly encourage students to take advantage of off-campus study opportunities. I think it's the most unique thing about the block plan is the ability to be able to do that and still be able to be fully participating in things here on campus. You're not having to go abroad for an entire semester, so you're still able to participate in so many things on campus that semester-based institutions students may lose out on. So we definitely encourage that. Students who are going to be gone an entire semester, usually we work with upfront, and so those students are not housed on campus during that time, and then we work with them to house them when they are coming back, right before they come back. And that's just to make sure that students aren't charged for housing and dining while they're away. If you're only going to be gone for a block or maybe a couple of blocks, usually if you're working through an on-campus course or through our international studies office, there are automatic kind of refunds and things put into place, or credits back, not necessarily a refund, but a credit back to your account for those costs. If you're only going to be gone a block, students can choose to remain on campus and leave their things on campus. You can also choose to move out if you truly don't want to be charged for housing during that time. I should clarify, if you're going to be off campus, you're not charged for dining during that time necessarily. You still would be charged for housing for your belongings and things being on campus because you're still maintaining that residence. But we do have some students that they may only need to be here for half of a semester, and so we can work with that. And there's just kind of a lot of different moving parts. So and a lot of times individual basis is the way we handle things. So if you have specific questions about that, please refer those either to the phone number or to our email address.
And final question, you talked about roommates and, the fact that you try to find the best life matches and stuff. Always a concern though with families and students is, what if I don't get along with that roommate and
Mhm.
we've gone through the process and it's just not working out? When would a student be able to switch roommates? And, what is that process like?
Yeah. So we do have a really good success rate when it comes to placing students. And so, but we do understand that at some points, we may not get it right. And at some points, you may get on campus and you may meet somebody that you instantly connect with. And they're like, yes, that is my roommate and the person I'm going to live with, in some cases, for the next 4 years while I'm at Cornell. And so when we make housing placements, unfortunately, those are locked in until the end of the first block. And so the reasons for that is that we are still admitting students and trying to house students, and we still have students that may be returning students who are coming back. And so we need to make sure that we have all of our spaces kind of set so we know where we can house somebody if we need to on a more quick basis. Also, during the first block, we do an official government census to determine what our on-campus occupancy and enrollment are. And so to make that easier, we usually don't do room changes during the first block. So that way we can make sure our numbers are correct. We do make exceptions. So if there are extreme situations and circumstances that are highly unique and unusual, students can request those. And if they meet that kind of criteria, we have moved students in the past. But for the most part, we will start fielding requests and allowing you, more often than not, if you come in and say, I want to move, we're going to try to mediate whatever the concern is, because our hope is that maybe, it's something small that we can work through, and then you can go forward with being roommates with each other. But also then knowing that we are an institution where everyone is basically around everyone most of the time. And so, you're likely going to see your ex-roommate on campus, or maybe even just be down the hall from them. And so we want to make sure that you're in a place that you can move forward, as acquaintances and possibly as friends without being roommates. So if we can't mediate it with a staff member, then we will give students lists of options of where they could move to, open spaces with another roommate they could move in with, and then allow you to connect with another roommate and kind of make that decision. And then starting with block 2, usually we can start to make more open room changes and kind of work through those things with students. So but those are definitely questions that if you do have concerns, get in touch with the assistant director for the building in which you're housed in, and they'll be in the best position to help you out.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stephen. And again, if anybody has any questions, make sure to reach out to Res Life through their email, their phone, check out their website, or on social media. You can also reach out to us in admission by emailing admission@cornellcollege.edu, or you can also go to the website and find your admission counselor, and we can answer any questions or get you in touch with anybody there as well. But that does it for our Res Life session. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and we'll hopefully chat with you soon.